Things are getting spicy in the AFC East. Let's talk about these moves. All right, so the Bills, they really want to win. Now, a lot of these, or at least 3 of these, are re-signings, but they're very important re-signings, and that's why I'm going over them. But first, let's start with our 2 new players. Edge, Joey Bosa, 1 year, $12.6 million. No explanation needed for him at all. He's a solid pass rusher and will add value to a weaker Bills front that got gashed last year by the run especially. But he'll also really shake up things in the backfield with the quarterbacks. Joshua Palmer, 3 years, $36 million. He's a solid wide receiver to go with Shakir, and he has great speed and possession abilities that will be utilized very, very well and effectively in a pass-heavy offense with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen is kind of like Baker Mayfield in that sense. He knows how to expose a wide receiver's true strength, and he will do that with Josh Palmer very well and very effectively, I believe. Now, Christian Benford, cornerback, 4 years, $76 million, and this is a very solid re-signing. He was one of the top corners in the league last year, and he will continue to be an effective part of that secondary for sure. Josh Allen, 6 years, $330 million. Don't even need to express why this is important at all. Khalil Shakir, 4-year extension, $60.2 million. He's obviously the top target for Josh Allen. He's very young, and he's very talented. Enough said for that about the Bills. All right, the Dolphins have been kind of an interesting case. I will give them some credit. They signed wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine to 2 years, $6.5 million. I think it's a little bit undersold, especially since he led the Titans in touchdowns last year and scoring overall. But he's going to be a very valuable asset along with Hill and Waddell. So look for him to be a good possession guy, or one of those guys that kind of just skates by and nobody notices because they're so focused on Hill and Waddle and ends up scoring a lot. Could happen that way, as that kind of happened with when he was playing with Ridley and Hopkins for most of the part of last year, but we'll see. Offensive guard James Daniel, 3 years, $24 million. Very low buy, high value acquisition with Daniels. He's a premier guard when it comes to the run game in the NFL, and is also a very effective pass blocker. This will give great versatility to the play calling for the Dolphins offense as a whole. Especially with Devin Achane and Tua back there, being able to trust that a guy can block for you whenever you're sitting in the pocket, or block for you when you're running to the outside. That's going to be the best acquisition, obviously. Free safety Ashton Davis, 1 year, $2.5 million. Very valuable asset for the secondary specifically. Excuse me. For the run game versatility. But he also has high value as a coverage DB as well. And he can come down hard and reads plays very well before they actually happen. Cornerback, Fatiu, I'm going to mispronounce this, Melon Funwu, 1 year, $4 million. He's a very solid DB. He brings speed to the Dolphins secondary and great split between pass coverage and facing the run game, ranking in the top 40% for both regards. Overall, the Dolphins had a pretty decent signing year. All right, I think this is one of the more exciting ones. The Patriots. They signed Mike Vrabel to be their new head coach, which was kind of, I think, the plan all along, as Mike Vrabel was truly a protege of Bill Belichick, and this has been discussed for quite a long time. And I think that people knew that he was going to eventually end up at the Patriots. They just didn't know when. But he is very good at bringing defenses up to their most and peak potential. And the Patriots already had an above average defense, so it is just providing them with the mindset to possibly be one of the best, if not the top defense in the league this year. So it's going to be kind of exciting to see what Vrabel does. He's an incredibly smart coach, and he knows the game very well. And I think that hopefully they give him more leverage in the decision-making when it comes to the actual players than the Titans did, which was, I think, one of the big problems. Next, we got wide receiver Stephon Diggs, 3 years, $69 million. Being without a true wide receiver threat, Diggs is the perfect acquisition for Drake May and a very lackluster offense in 2024. That offense had no weapons at all. There was no true number one threat out there, but now they have Diggs, which will give them more of a boost, and it'll give Drake May more of an ability to actually make plays due to Diggs' ability to provide that threat for them and open up other receivers as well. Hopefully they get more threats because really he is their only one right now. I don't really consider Ramondre Stevenson that big of a threat. He's kind of just a lock and placeholder, but we'll have to see. Tackle Morgan Moses, 3 years, $24 million. The O-line as a whole struggled to protect May last year. Moses adds strength to the O-line as a whole and will give, it'll give May confidence to sit in the pocket just a little bit longer. He's not an insane upgrade, but he's a pretty decent one. They got edge Harold Landry, 3 years, $43.5 million. This is where I'm saying they're starting to stack this defense, especially behind Vrabel. He's already familiar with Vrabel from the Titans, and he's a force to be reckoned with for all opposing quarterbacks. However, his bread and butter is his ability to sniff out the run game. He's very effective at that and very quick to pounce on the run game. He ranks in the top 10 of all edges when it comes to stopping the run game. Cornerback Carlton Davis, 3 years, $60 million. A much-needed asset in the secondary. Davis is a solid player in coverage and just as solid, if not more fitting, at coming down and stripping away the run game on the outside. And finally, the Jets, the most hyped up and then sorry team last year for the AFC East. Not exactly as hyped up this year, but it's making some moves that I think could be interesting. Quarterback Justin Fields, 2 years, $40 million. He's had quite a back and forth tenure in the NFL. I think he was starting to find solid ground with the Steelers and could potentially do so with the Jets as well. While he doesn't have many true downfield threats, this could be a managerial offense that requires a more mobile quarterback, and there's no better fit for that than Fields, who is one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the league. Cornerback Brandon Stevens, 3 years, $36 million. He's an interesting acquisition. Stevens' coverage ability is not super prominent in zone, but he is very successful in man coverage and snuffing out the run game as well. Linebacker Jamian Sherwood, a stout middle linebacker. He's very effective in shutting down the run game and also has decent coverage ability, which gives him great versatility. Safety Andrew Sisko, 1 year, $10 million. He's not the most effective at his position. He does generate great pressure in stopping the run game, and this fits well with a 4-3 style defense from his position. All right, so ranking these wise, I think I'm going to have to give it to the Patriots. The Patriots made the biggest moves, shifted the most players, picked out the most pieces that they needed and placed them into their team, from head coach to actual offensive threats to stacking the defense even more and getting it more in line with what Mike Vrabel is going to be doing. So I got to give it to them, number one. Number two, I'm going to give it to the Bills. Even though a lot of them were re-signings, those re-signings were very important and were very acquisitional and needed. If they lost any of those players, it would have been a significant decrease to that team as a whole. But the few players that they did sign, like Josh Palmer and Joey Bosa, are both going to be incredibly effective weapons for both the offense and the defense as a whole. Number three, I'm going to give it probably to. It's a toss-up between them, but I think I'll give it to the Dolphins, and only because I think that adding Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is a bigger asset than anything that the Jets did necessarily besides Justin Fields, but there's not really much around Justin Fields for him to utilize, whereas Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is that third true wide receiver threat that can sneak into the middle and kind of go unseen for Tua to utilize in that offense. Whereas the Jets, being at number 4, they got Justin Fields, which is all right. They had gotten rid of all their quarterbacks anyway, so they needed a quarterback. I don't know if his talents are going to fit well into their system, but that remains to be seen. Otherwise, they just strengthened the defense, which I guess was kind of decent already anyway, so I guess it'll just make it better, but they still continue to not focus on their offense. Thanks, guys. Remember to like and comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on each of these different moves from the offseason. And go ahead and remember to subscribe to stay up to date with all things NFL and all things college football. Tighten up.